Do you want to live longer and better, with true health, energy upon waking, an active mind, and a firm body even after 70? Then you need to know. There are 7 signs that your body is giving off right now, and they can scientifically predict how many more years of healthy living you have ahead. And the most frightening part is that almost no one pays attention to them. These signs are simple. They are there in your everyday life, but ignoring them can come at a high cost, a very high cost, because it is through these signals that your body reveals whether you are on the path to longevity or already taking the first steps toward decline. The good news: you can still change the course of your health. You can prevent diseases, regain your strength, balance your body and mind, and achieve healthy aging with more autonomy and well-being. The problem is that this type of knowledge does not reach the public as it should. Few doctors talk about it clearly, but I am here to open that path with you, not only as a doctor, but also as someone who cares about your future. Each of these 7 signs carries a warning and at the same time a key to transformation. Those who understand and apply what I am about to show here gain in quality of life, emotional strength, and even resilience against the natural effects of time. Stay with me until the end, because you will come out of this video with a completely different view of your body. And more importantly, with practical actions that can change everything starting today. Have you ever noticed how some people over 70 walk so steadily that they even seem younger than they are? It isn't by chance. The speed of one's walk has silently been one of the most reliable predictors of longevity. When an elderly person walks with a firm pace, it reveals a body in sync. The heart beats vigorously, the muscles respond promptly, and the brain maintains a healthy coordination rhythm. And the most curious part? It's not just a matter of aesthetics or agility. We are talking about senior health in its purest form. This simple act of walking can hide an incredible ability to prevent diseases. Many studies have confirmed that walking speed is almost like a thermometer for the body. In a study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, it was revealed that elderly individuals who walk at a speed equal to or greater than 1 meter per second have a higher life expectancy than those with a slower gait. This is directly linked to leg muscle strength, proper cardiovascular functioning, and neurological integrity. In other words, an essential combo for healthy aging. When this pace slows down without any apparent reason, it is worth investigating. It could be a silent warning that something in the body needs immediate attention. Now, consider this interesting fact. A 78-year-old man who takes moderate and regular morning walks without using a cane has a lower risk of developing neurodegenerative diseases than another of the same age who walks in a dragging manner. And do you know why? The repeated and constant movement stimulates circulation, oxygenates the brain, and activates the musculoskeletal system. It is no exaggeration to say that walking fast is like fueling the body with health and well-being. Longevity is not a distant goal, but a path, quite literally, traveled by one's own feet. For those who no longer walk as before, here's a practical tip. Start slowly, but consistently. Take a short, straight path inside your home or in your backyard, timing yourself with a clock. Try to improve that time gradually, without haste and without overexerting yourself. A good tip is to use small steps or to walk on your tiptoes to stimulate the muscles. As an old master of Chinese medicine used to say, "He who moves his feet moves his soul." Resilience is built one step at a time, and that step can change everything. It is important to remember that fast walking does not need to be a run. It should have a comfortable yet active pace, as if the body had a purpose, a direction. Avoid slippery shoes and choose times with good lighting and pleasant temperatures. Ideally, walk on flat surfaces, but if possible, include sections with small inclines, which increase the cardiovascular and muscular challenge. These simple yet consistent lifestyle habits are like bricks that build solid health even after 70. Small changes in your routine yield big results in your lifespan. And if you are wondering, but is it still possible for me? The answer is yes. It always is. The human body has a surprising capacity for adaptation and response, even in later life. Never underestimate the power of a well-done walk. Sometimes all a mature body needs is a little more movement to show its true strength. Longevity is not just genetics. It is a choice, a daily practice, a decision. And all of this can start with the simple act of walking today. Another point that reflects vitality is the strength of a handshake. It is curious how something as simple as a handshake can reveal so much about an elderly person's body. When an elderly person shakes hands firmly, they reveal a series of hidden information, active muscles, well-functioning nerves, and a circulatory system that is keeping up with the demands. Now, when that handshake is weak, almost without resistance, the signal is clear. Health might be losing ground. The strength of the hands is more than a detail. It is a silent indicator of senior health. And yes, it is one of those secrets that few doctors emphasize, but that deserve extra attention. Studies reveal that grip strength is directly associated with life expectancy. An article published in The Lancet showed that individuals with a stronger handshake have a lower risk of developing cardiovascular diseases, cancer, and even cognitive decline. This happens because muscle is not just a tissue of strength, but also an organ that communicates with the entire body, as if it sends positive signals to the metabolism, the brain, and even the immune system. In this case, longevity starts in the palm of the hand. But don't worry, you don't have to become a bodybuilder. A simple exercise I recommend in my practice is to hold a tennis ball for 10 seconds and then release it. Repeating this several times a day already activates the muscles in the forearm and hand. It may seem trivial, but it makes all the difference. One of my 82-year-old patients, who suffered from trembling and weakened hands, started this habit and after 2 months regained firmness, confidence, and, believe it or not, even improved his handwriting. This type of result, no matter how modest it may seem, is what sustains well-being in healthy aging. It isn't just a matter of brute strength. The handshake is also linked to fine motor coordination and the control of the central nervous system. When there is a loss of strength without an apparent reason, it could be the beginning of conditions such as sarcopenia, which is the progressive loss of muscle mass, or even an early sign of neurological diseases. That is why it is ideal to be alert to small signs, difficulty opening jars, holding objects for too long, or even pressing buttons. These subtleties, when carefully observed, help in the prevention of diseases. And do you know what is even more fascinating? Working on hand strength impacts other areas: better posture, more stability when walking, and even less back pain. This is because strengthening the upper body generates positive reflections in overall balance. Have you ever heard of the functional chain theory? It explains how, by activating certain muscle groups, others also benefit, forming a true chain of protection for the body. A simple habit can prevent falls, boost self-esteem, and promote physical resilience. So the next time you greet someone, pay attention to the handshake. If it is weak, do not underestimate it. It might just be the fatigue of the day, but it could also be a silent plea from the body for attention. Strengthening the hands is an act of care, prevention, and respect for one's own health. It's not just about having strength, but about keeping the connection between the mind, body, and the will to live well for a longer time alive. Few people realize that being able to stand on one leg for 10 seconds can say so much about the body. But the truth is that this simple test, seemingly innocuous, has been used by doctors around the world as a powerful screening tool. Maintaining balance requires much more than leg strength. It involves neuromuscular coordination, proper brain function, and body awareness. It is as if the body says, "I am whole, I am connected, I am ready to withstand the challenges of time." And this type of response is closely linked to longevity. Recent research indicates that elderly people with balance difficulties have a higher risk of mortality in the following years. A study from the British Journal of Sports Medicine revealed that the inability to stand on one leg for 10 seconds was associated with an 84% higher risk of death from all causes over a 7-year period. It may sound alarming, but it is also an opportunity. Balance, when regularly stimulated, strengthens, and this can completely change the course of healthy aging. In my practice, I usually recommend practices such as Tai Chi Chuan or yoga for patients who need to improve this skill. They are light exercises, but extremely effective, and the most beautiful part is that many report improvements not only physically, but also emotionally. "Doctor, now I feel safe enough to go to the market by myself," a 76-year-old lady once told me after a month of practicing basic postures. Body balance directly reflects on emotional well-being and self-confidence, two fundamental pillars of health in later life. But imbalance does not always appear in a glaring way. Sometimes it manifests subtly: recurrent stumbles, difficulty climbing a step, or the feeling that the leg doesn't respond as it used to. These small signs deserve attention, as they may indicate the onset of neurological, muscular, or metabolic issues. The prevention of diseases begins with careful listening to the body, and the sooner action is taken, the greater the chance of preserving autonomy and resilience. A simple and powerful practice is to do the balance test upon waking. Stand next to a chair, lightly hold the back for support, and try to lift one leg for 10 seconds. If it is too difficult, do not force it. Gradually train yourself, calmly. This daily practice activates the stabilizing muscles, improves posture, and even works on mental focus. It is like watering a plant. Consistency makes it bloom. Longevity, in this case, is hidden in small daily gestures. Senior health needs to be seen as a dance between body and mind. Balance is that point of union. When it is good, everything around gains strength, and the most charming part is that this ability can be recovered even after years of neglect. You just have to start. After all, the body ages, but the will to live well can remain young indefinitely. Few know this, but sleep is one of the most underestimated pillars of longevity. It is not just about resting, but about a true process of deep cellular repair, where the body cleanses toxins, regenerates tissues, and reorganizes neurological functions. For those over 70, a good night's sleep is not a luxury, it is a survival strategy. Those who maintain a stable sleep routine, sleeping around 7 hours a night, show fewer signs of cognitive decline, have more energy, and live healthier lives. The mystery is that in silence, while you sleep, your body is rebuilding itself. During deep sleep, there is a true brain cleaning. A system called the glymphatic system, little known outside of medicine, goes into action to eliminate toxic residues accumulated during the day, including substances linked to Alzheimer's. This explains why several poorly slept nights in a row can lead to forgetfulness, mental confusion, and even constant discouragement. I have heard many patients say, "Doctor, it seems that my brain wakes up more tired than when I went to sleep." And that feeling can be an indication that senior health is being sabotaged every night. But what prevents an elderly person from sleeping well? Sleep apnea, anxiety, the use of certain medications, and even the blue light from a cell phone before bed are hidden villains that undermine sleep quality. Chronic insomnia is linked to a higher risk of hypertension, type 2 diabetes, and depression. And the body, already more vulnerable at this stage of life, feels the impacts even more strongly. That is why creating a nighttime routine with healthy habits is essential. A warm bath, a cup of chamomile tea, and reading a good book are powerful allies in this self-care ritual. I have an 80-year-old patient who used to wake up 5 times a night. After some simple guidelines, such as turning off screens 1 hour before sleeping, keeping the room dark and cool, and taking melatonin under medical guidance, she began to have continuous and restorative sleep. The result? More energy in the morning, an improved mood, and even a reduction in blood pressure. Disease prevention starts with the pillow. Sleep is the most potent, free remedy we know, and it is available every night. We just have to know how to use it to our advantage. For those who struggle to fall asleep, I recommend a breathing exercise. Inhale, counting to 4, hold for 4 seconds, and slowly exhale while counting to 8. This technique activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for calming the body. It is like an off button for the mind, and when the body understands that it is time to relax, it begins to prepare for deep rest. Science confirms well-regulated sleep reduces the most feared risk factors in old age, from heart attacks to nighttime falls. Therefore, if there is one little spoken secret about healthy aging, it is this: treat sleep with reverence. It is the great, invisible guardian of senior health. And if you feel that your nights have been restless, agitated, or too short, perhaps it is time to look more kindly at this part of life that happens with closed eyes. Your future will thank you for every well-slept hour. Appetite is one of those things that over time we tend to ignore. It's normal to eat less when you're old, they say. But is it really? What few know, and here is one of those secrets that makes all the difference, is that appetite is one of the most precise thermometers of senior health. When an elderly person still enjoys food, especially fresh, nutritious, and colorful foods, it usually indicates that the body is functioning in harmony. On the other hand, loss of appetite can be a silent sign that something important is out of place. Many do not realize, but losing the sense of hunger can be an early warning of cognitive decline, hormonal disorders, depression, or even the onset of diseases such as cancer. And we are not just talking about eating less, but about a change in the relationship with food, as if the pleasure of eating had disappeared. An article published in the Revista Brasileira de Geriatria e Gerontologia showed that loss of appetite in the elderly is strongly linked to increased morbidity and reduced life expectancy. Longevity, in this context, passes through the plate, or rather, through the pleasure of eating. Eating well is not just a matter of quantity, but mainly of quality. Lean proteins, vegetables, seasonal fruits, and good fats should always be present. A simple dish with brown rice, beans, sautéed kale with garlic, and a boiled egg, for example, is a balanced meal, rich in iron, fiber, and proteins, a true ally against sarcopenia and other natural losses of aging. Senior health needs this smart nutrition that nourishes the body, but also the memory, energy, and emotional well-being. Many elderly people replace meals with quick snacks, cookies, or processed foods. This, besides reducing the nutritional value of the diet, favors the loss of muscle mass, dysregulation of blood sugar, and weakening of the immune system. Disease prevention begins with simple choices. In my office, I usually say, if you can grow your own food, even better. If you cannot, choose foods that have passed through as few hands as possible before reaching you. Real food is the fuel for physical and mental resilience. But what if the appetite simply disappears? In that case, it is time to investigate. Disorders of smell and taste, common after viral infections or continuous use of medications, can also affect the desire for food. The guidance of a geriatric nutritionist is essential. In more delicate cases, protein-rich supplements, such as natural shakes made with milk and fruits, can be introduced under guidance. The important thing is to keep the body nourished, because every cell needs the right nutrients to continue functioning with vitality. Keeping the appetite alive is also about keeping alive the relationship with the pleasure of living. Eating well, savoring a sweet fruit, preparing a meal with care, all of this nourishes much more than the stomach. It feeds memories, affections, and the desire to continue writing your own story with autonomy and true health. And for those who believe it is too late, here is a reminder. The body appreciates every meal made with intention, and longevity, once again, manifests itself in the small details of everyday life. There is a silent enemy that roams the health of many elderly people and goes unnoticed: chronic stress. And we're not talking about that occasional nervousness caused by a delay or bad news. The danger lies in continuous tension, constant worries, in a mind that does not shut off even at night. This kind of stress gradually undermines longevity, weakening the immune system, dysregulating hormones, and accelerating the aging process. The good news? Learning to deal with it can transform not only the number of years you live, but the quality of those years. Several studies have shown that elderly people who practice relaxation techniques live longer and better. An article published by Harvard Health Publishing highlighted that daily meditation significantly reduces the risk of cardiovascular diseases and cognitive decline. And you don't have to become a monk to reap the benefits. Just 5 minutes a day of mindful breathing, silent walks, or simple prayers are enough. As I often tell my patients, the body may age, but the mind must continue to find places of peace. That is true well-being. Chronic stress acts like an invisible corrosive in the body. It increases cortisol, a hormone that in excess causes silent inflammation, worsens hypertension, diabetes, and weakens the body's defense against infections. In later life, this imbalance is even more dangerous, as the body no longer has the same capacity for regeneration. That is why practicing emotional control becomes a tool for disease prevention. It is no exaggeration to say that learning to relax can be worth more than any medication. I have a 74-year-old patient who, after losing his wife, plunged into a state of constant anguish. Insomnia, high blood pressure, and unexplained pain became part of his routine. Instead of only treating the symptoms, I proposed something different. Weekly sessions of guided breathing and outdoor walks to the sound of music he liked. In 3 months, his test results improved, his blood pressure stabilized, and most importantly, he started smiling again. Resilience is not about being strong all the time, but about learning to recover with ease. Another crucial point is social bonds. Talking with a friend, sharing experiences, laughing together, all of this reduces the impact of stress on the body. Science has already proven that human touch, a kind word, or even the simple act of listening to someone can lower blood pressure. When the heart is embraced, it works better. And in later life, that emotional support becomes a nutrient as essential as calcium or iron. Longevity needs inner peace. Controlling stress is like cultivating a garden. It requires daily attention, but it brings lasting beauty. Small actions, like making a gratitude list at the end of the day, or turning off the news an hour before bed, can make an immense difference. Senior health is sensitive to the emotional environment, and those who learn to take care of the mind inevitably strengthen the body. And so, without fanfare, life prolongs in harmony, like a melody that continues playing far beyond what was expected. There is one little spoken secret among the factors that determine a long life: the power of human bonds. Having someone to talk to, share afternoon coffee with, or simply say a sincere good morning can be more important than many people imagine. Science has repeatedly shown that loneliness is as harmful as smoking or having high blood pressure. Conversely, maintaining affectionate relationships strengthens immunity, protects the brain, and wards off depression. In this case, longevity is built by many hands, one conversation at a time. A study conducted by Harvard University over an 80-year period revealed that the quality of human relationships is the strongest factor linked to happiness and well-being throughout life. And this is not limited to youth. In later life, this need intensifies. After all, the body may slow down, but the heart continues to crave company, affection, and exchange. Doctor, ever since my domino group broke up, it feels like I fell apart too, a patient once confessed to me. This shows how social bonds act as true pillars of emotional and physical health. But what about those who live alone? There is still much that can be done. Participating in a church group, taking classes in community centers, or even keeping in regular contact with family by phone already makes a difference. The simple act of anticipating a visit, a phone call, or a trip to the market with a neighbor activates brain areas linked to pleasure and motivation. In this case, well-being depends not only on the absence of diseases, but on the presence of people. It is the company that warms the soul and renews the body. Loneliness, on the other hand, is a serious risk. Studies show that lonely elderly people have a higher incidence of heart disease, dementia, and even frequent falls. This happens because social isolation affects the mind and, consequently, the body. Lifestyle habits become more sedentary, eating becomes careless, and sleep quality declines. The cycle is subtle but dangerous. That is why you should never underestimate the power of a hug, a laugh, or an afternoon shared. A practical suggestion I usually give my patients is create a small social commitment once a week. It can be a walk with a neighbor, a call to a distant friend, or a visit to the market with someone dear. These simple gestures keep the brain active, lighten the heart, and nourish the spirit. Emotional resilience is born from shared affection, attentive listening, and human touch. And in this process, disease prevention occurs almost as a side effect. In times when many things push us toward isolation, technologies, fears, losses, it is essential to remember the path to longevity is paved with relationships. They are the bonds that support us when physical strength falters. They are the ones that bring back the smile, even when days become silent. Those who cultivate friendships, bonds, and constant exchanges are, in fact, building the most effective treatment of all, a life with meaning and true health. Now tell me, of these 7 signs, which one caught your attention the most? Leave your comments below. I want to know your opinion and exchange experiences with you. Your story can inspire others to take better care of their own health. And of course, if this content helped you in any way, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and activate notifications. That way, you will be the first to receive the next videos with practical tips and powerful revelations about health, aging, and longevity. In the upcoming content, I will show you habits and strategies that strengthen the body, mind, and spirit in later life, and that many people are still unaware of. I'll see you there. A big hug, and until the next video.